Welcome to the Zeitgeist Lab podcast, episode something, collection 2, community, introduction to videography. Alex, I have some good news and I have some bad news.
Okay. Let's start with the bad news. I want to be let down and then risen from the dead with great news. So what's the bad news?
I was going to say the good news first.
Okay. All right.
The good news first is I'm ready to record. I'm having a good time. I got my weed. I got my water.
Hell yeah.
The bad news is I fell asleep and didn't get to watch the episode this week.
Oh my fucking god. Are you kidding me?
I wish I was kidding.
Okay, well, all right, let's start with this. I'm going to say it because if I don't say it, you're going to say it and I'll fucking lose my shit. This is the penultimate episode of the series of Community. It's the second to last one. So I just want to get that out of the way. I'm going to acknowledge that word before you get the joy of saying it.
I wouldn't have even known.
You picked it. I was convinced after a while that you picked it specifically because it was the second to last episode of this.
No way, this
show.
episode rocks. I love it. It's the only good episode of the last season.
All right, well, I think that wraps up the main episode. We'll stop here. Brian will watch the episode, and then we'll talk to our guests. What are we supposed to talk about if you haven't watched it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you watched it too.
Yeah, I watched it last night. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are your thoughts about the episode?
It was a lot better than I remember it. I think it's a good episode.
Yeah, I told you it is a good episode.
It's not I mean, I guess the things I would say are that it's not the only good episode of the last season, and on top of that, it's also not the best episode of the last season. But it's a good episode.
Okay. What are the better episodes?
I mean, I really do like the series finale.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The broadcast something or other. I'm trying the one with the big hand on the RV. I like that one.
I hate that one.
I'm trying to look. I think our guest this week is going to have something to say about it because when she had reached out and said, oh, hey, I could be a guest on your podcast. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And she specifically said she wanted to talk about season 6. So I think she likes this one. So I'll be interested to hear what she says. But I think it's a good episode. Or a good season. It's better than 4 and at least as good as 5.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just think when they bring in those like other characters that have no personality into them, they bring them into like the main group, it just doesn't really sit well with me. It's like you can't replace the other main characters. Like you can't replace a Shirley.
So I mean, just looking. I mean, I think that basic email security. I think that's a really good one. I really like Intro to Recycled Cinema. If I could only pick one from this season, I'd probably pick that one. I really like that one. Grifting 101 it's a little self-indulgent, a little too long for my liking, but I still think it's good. Basic RV Repair and Palmistry, I already talked about. And then I think this is the season, I'm trying to find the actual name of it. Laws of Robotics and Party Rights. I think that's the one with like the iPad prisoners. So I think there's some really good ones in this this season.
Yeah, I don't like most of those, honestly. I don't know. It just felt like the show had become like a shell of its former self by then to me.
It's definitely not the same show, but I think it's still good. And you said you bring in these people with no personality. I don't necessarily agree with that. In fact, I think that in this episode we're talking about what is like intro. I want to get the title right here. Introduction to. It's just called Wedding Videography is what it was called. I think that Leroy is probably the standout character in this episode for me.
Okay.
I think it's really funny his addiction to encouraging white people And it kind of culminates with that whole, now there's a man who knows how to marry his cousin. Like, I just think that Leroy does really good in this episode.
They don't have the same kind of staying power as like a Shirley or a Pierce or a Troy.
But I think that Dan Harmon knew they didn't really need to have staying power. Like, everyone's contract was up at the end of this season. I don't think you needed a 6th season. I think there was this idea that they needed to fulfill 6 seasons, at least that part of the 6 seasons and a movie mantra, which is fine. And I think it was a decently executed season. But I think that Dan Harmon probably knew that, regardless of whether they got their movie or whatever, I think he could see the writing on the wall. Like, NBC dropped them, they had to go to Yahoo. I think he knew this was going to be the last season, so I don't necessarily think you needed to have characters with a staying power. You just needed characters to kind of fill the void that Shirley and Professor Hickey and Duncan have left after not being around after season 5.
That's a fair point, yeah. Yeah, I like how we're just kind of just diving into the episode on this episode here.
It's really, it's good because you and I have not talked in like almost 2 weeks now, and we didn't really talk at all before we started recording. So
no, we're just kind of jumping,
diving right into it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine with me. We're gonna need to fill the time, that's for sure. Just because I didn't watch the episode. I told my friend I was gonna game with her. We're gonna go game online at 8:30. I was gonna watch, and I was gonna watch the episode at 8. And I laid down at 7:30. And then I woke up and it was 9:30 on the dot, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" So
you missed gaming and watching the episode?
Yeah, man. I lost all time. I had like all this time before like the day, and then I had it all planned out, and like just all that time went poof.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I like this episode a lot. Obviously, I picked it. I think Garrett marrying his cousin is really, really funny and a very Garrett thing to do.
Yeah.
There's a line where I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm trying to think of it now. Where he's like, he's like, never mind. I'm not gonna say because I can't remember it.
Okay.
It's something about like everyone eat cake unless you have a problem with me marrying my cousin or something like that. Then get the fuck out or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Not those exact words, but
yeah. I don't know. I just thought this one really stuck out to me as like an old school Community episode where it was like, you're focusing on like a background character from the school, and the rest of the gang is kind of just surrounding them. It kind of like the D&D episode where they're taking a background character and focusing on them.
Right. And I certainly don't think. Well, I know it's not like the first episode they've done where it's like Abed shooting a documentary. And typically in those, Abed doesn't appear on screen, which is always kind of weird. He does like the voiceover part. But yeah, it's kind of weird to have Abed not appear on screen at all, especially now that we're kind of in this 6th season and you've got, the more peripheral characters such as Leroy and Frankie. I think it worked more in, the first 3 or 4 seasons when, okay, Abed's not on the screen, but you still have the other 6 main characters that we know and have a relationship with.
For sure, yeah. And I like those episodes where Abed kind of goes in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like those episodes in general where it's like you're not focusing on the main group and the main group's kind of reacting to the universe around them, sort of.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it adds another layer, another dynamic that is interesting to explore.
Yeah.
And I think that is one thing that Community does really well. I mean, obviously, it's still a TV show, so a lot of the primary focus is going to be on this main cast that they've kind of created. But I think the writers, and obviously that mainly being Dan Harmon, have forced the main cast to interact with what you said, like the universe around them, a lot more frequently than other sitcoms. And so many other sitcoms, just like, okay, this is our core group, and everything that happens revolves around them. Whereas Community, I think, does a good job of a balance. Like, there's certainly a lot of episodes that focus just on the Greendale 6 or 7 or whatever, which rightfully so. But there's a lot of episodes where, it's more reactionary.
Hence the term Community.
Right.
So, let's see what the AV Club thinks.
Okay. Wait, hold on. I want to do something here first, because in our first 4 or 5 episodes or whatever, you've always looked at the AV Club, and then like they'll say, or she will say A minus, whatever, and they're like, well, I would have given it this, which I think is very convenient for you to get to look at the grade and then be like, well, this is what I think. So before you pull it up, I want you to tell me what grade you would give this episode, so we can get like your actual grade without the bias of your hate for the AV Club.
See, are you not believing my grades here? Do you think my grades are insincere?
I think that your grades are biased by your hate for the AV Club. I think you want to specifically disagree with that.
I'm always honest. I'm honest when I agree with the AV Club too, but I'm going to say this one's a B plus.
Okay.
So now we'll see what the AV Club thought, and if they say B plus, I'm going to say good job, AV Club. We agree.
Okay.
No problem with it. Ooh, they gave it a B minus.
Okay. So she thinks it's. By season 6, is that the same person that we've been used to, or?
Wait, no, this is by someone else.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay, so season 6 is reviewed by someone named Joshua Alston.
Okay, so not is it like Emily Todd Vanderwolf or something like that?
Yeah, no Emily Todd Vanderwerf.
Okay.
Vanderwerf. Yeah. Yeah, this is a whole new person. So fuck you, Joshua Alston. So, all right.
Because there's such a big difference between B minus and B plus, but yeah, fuck you, Joshua. You didn't give it the slightly different grade that I gave it.
Yeah, there's a big difference between a B minus and a B plus. One's almost an A and one's almost a C.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just gonna read the first sentence, read the last sentence.
Okay, let's see if Joshua holds up doing the.
Well, the first sentence is a question, which is an awful way to start this.
Okay, what's the question?
Is the Greendale Gang the best thing ever to happen to its members, or the worst?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like the way they started this. The question. That's.
And what's the last sentence?
It's funny in places, but it's such a departure. It feels inessential. Damn, Joshua.
I completely agree with that.
I don't agree with that at all.
I think to call this an inessential episode of Community is spot on.
No way.
I don't agree that it's a big departure. I mean, they've done like documentary type episodes like this before, and it's always kind of weird. The one where they're making a new ad for the community college, the one where Pierce is like in a coma or whatever, and Abed's filming. So I don't necessarily think that it's a departure, but if you cut this episode completely out of the series, it would mean nothing. It is completely inessential.
I'd be totally sad if they cut it out from the rest of the series. I need to see Garrett marry his cousin on accident. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm such a big fan of Garrett, and he's my favorite. He's my favorite background character.
Right.
He got his own episode. Maybe that's bias. It's kind of painting my opinion a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I just, I think that Joshua is completely right in his assessment.
I don't know about this Joshua guy. Let's see. What else has Joshua done to this site? Oh, he still writes for him.
Okay.
He's reviewing something called Mayor of Easttown. I don't know what
I've
that
never heard of
is.
that. Yeah,
No, but he gives all the episodes an A, so must be good.
it's got to be.
I don't know. I don't know about this character, this Joshua character. I'm glad we're only reviewing one episode from season 6. So I don't have to deal with him.
Okay.
More than I have.
You didn't seem too happy about Emily either.
No, but at least we've built a relationship. We've built a rapport.
Okay.
Feel that it's like we've agreed sometimes, we've disagreed sometimes. It goes back and forth.
Sure.
And I don't know. Maybe we can get her on the podcast. I haven't looked into that yet because I've been busy. But we're
About
always
9 more weeks.
and 9 more weeks of this. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing from my week that's just really really brightened it is that I found out the Spanish word for turtle is tortuga,
Yeah.
and I think that's like the cutest thing in the world.
You like that? Okay.
I've been just walking around my apartment saying tortuga,
Tortuga. Okay.
tortuga.
Okay.
Just been getting high and saying that to myself and saying, "Donde está el tortuga? ¿Cómo está tortuga?"
Okay. How did you stumble upon this great discovery?
Someone said that in my at work,
Okay.
and so they said that in the chat, and I was like, my eyes widened. I was like, "That's adorable."
That's adorable.
So I wrote it in the chat. I was like, "Donde está tortuga? ¿Cómo está tortuga?" And I was just that brightened my week.
Nice.
Yeah, we haven't talked in like 2 weeks. We haven't potted in like 2 weeks.
It's been a minute.
That's crazy. What have you been up to?
That's working.
Same here. Yeah, I don't know. I got like freaked out that we're gonna start taking real life calls from real life people, and I don't think I'm ready to do that. And
well, let's explore that. Why aren't you ready to do that? What is it that?
I don't know. I still need some I still need some training time. Like,
you
I don't know how to
passed your
solve
tests, right? You tweeted that you passed some sort of test you had to do.
I did. I had passed it twice because we had then had to be tested by people that didn't train us.
Okay.
And those people sucked, and I barely passed it the second time.
What do you mean they sucked?
They like tested you on things that you weren't trained for.
Okay.
Like they didn't train you. I wasn't trained to like do certain things, and then they marked me wrong for not doing those things that I wasn't even trained to do.
But you passed anyway.
Yeah, I passed, but I didn't feel good about it. I got an 81, and 80% was what you needed to pass.
Have you ever worked at a call center before?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll be fine. I wouldn't stress about it too much. Like,
yeah, I just don't know how to solve all the problems yet.
Well, that's why you have supervisors. Look, this is going to be a controversial take, I'm sure, but sometimes bosses are good, especially when you're in a customer service position, because then your boss can be the one. The boss can be the one to come over and take the customer's shit.
That's true, yeah. Okay, so I said my trainers made things fun, and you called me a bootlicker, and now you're saying sometimes bosses are good.
Yeah.
Which is it? Which is it, Alex?
Whatever I'm saying is always right.
Yeah.
Bosses can't make learning fun, but bosses can handle dealing with shitty customers. Both of these things can be true. And you can be a bootlicker and I cannot be, while both of those things are also true.
Okay. All right. I'll go with you on that journey.
Well, that's the end of the journey. I mean, it's a one-way train. Last stop, Suburbia.
Last stop, Suburbia. I said Suburbia.
Suburbia.
Last stop, Suburbia.
Last stop, Suburbia.
Somewhere on Fullerton.
Okay. Last stop, Spudburbia. Somewhere down on Friarton.
Nice. There we go. We got it.
Got it. Figure it out.
So, community. Do we still want to talk about it?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I like these I like these going off the rails episodes.
They're a nightmare to edit. I just want to go on the record
Are
as saying
they?
that right now. Like, somehow editing the first 4 episodes, each one has taken longer than it ever took to edit a 2.5-hour episode about Dashboard Confessional. I don't know why. I don't know what makes. Maybe I'm just too much of a perfectionist, trying to trim every little thing that I think is unnecessary.
Well, I mean, what I feel like you're giving yourself more work than you need to, because I don't think the whole episode needs to cater to the community discussion. I like when we go off the rails.
I'm fine with going off the rails. It's
like
the long stretches of silence. There have been a couple episodes where like you've said some things that I know you want cut out, and I've said some things that I determined should be cut out.
Some things that are racist.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I had to. That's a lot of stuff I have to cut out.
Yeah, they don't like to be called that anymore. Apparently,
no. It's my mistake. See, and I'm probably going to cut that out because it heavily implies that I'm dead serious about having used a slur and thinking that was okay.
That's true. Yeah. Probably not.
Slurs are bad.
What?
Slurs are bad.
Are there good ones?
I mean, isn't a slur by definition a bad thing?
Yeah, but like, there should be like, why aren't there good slurs? Like, someone who works hard, why can't you call that person a name? Be like, you do gooder. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's okay. So the actual definition of the word slur is an insinuation or allegation about someone that is likely to insult them or damage their reputation. So I think by nature, like, you can't have a good slur.
Damn.
Like, how can you, like, if there's someone who's a really hard worker, how could you call them a name that also insinuates an insult towards them?
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Why don't you make up your own slur? Pop punk guy.
I have pop punk guy.
That's a bad slur, though, right? Like, no one wants to be accused of that.
No, but are you telling me to make up a good slur?
Yeah.
Okay, give me time and I'll think about it.
No, you won't.
No, probably not. I'll forget it. I'll completely forget about this conversation a week from now, and then I'll listen back on it and be like, "Damn, that was a good episode."
What's your deal? Like, I've got a question for you. What kind of sandwiches are you into?
I think we've been over this.
Okay, all right. That was a trick. I wanted to see if you would remember telling me about the pound of salami and cheese
that question
that you buy.
felt a bit obtuse. I was like, that was almost too casual.
Too casual.
No, I remember that. I listened back to the episodes.
Okay.
I listen to this podcast quite frequently. So if only to remember all the stupid things I've said that have gone on record.
Right.
So, community, do we want to keep talking about it?
I don't know. Do you want to keep talking about it? What else is there to say about it?
This episode, I'm just baffled that we've been able to talk about it despite me having not watched it.
An impressive feat, to be sure.
I honestly thought that would happen eventually. Like I would totally forget to watch it. I don't know. Should we pack it in? I don't know. This was kind of short, but
yeah. I mean, we'll have a guest, so that'll kind of pad.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That'll beef it up a little bit.
Maybe you can watch the episode by then.
Then okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll watch it after this, and then I'll have more thoughts on the guest episode, on the guest portion of this episode. So if you want to know my opinions, you're gonna have to wait.
You're gonna have to make it through this 10-minute introduction, and then we'll get to the guest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, slow but steady. like a Tortuga.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that such a cute word though, Tortuga?
I mean, I guess.
I just can't get it out of my head.
I mean, I think the Spanish word for penguin is cuter. Pinguino? That's way cuter
Oh
than
my
Tortuga.
god, that is Pinguino. Oh my, that almost sounds Italian.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm gonna learn Spanish just so I can name like just learn all the cute animal names.
Yeah, you should do it.
I'm gonna go to the zoo and just yell, just yell the names in Spanish.
Does Madison have a zoo?
We do. We have the Henry Vilas Zoo. It's free.
Nice. Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's free
Is
to
it
get
like
in.
a good zoo?
It's pretty good,
Okay.
I think. But yeah, and I'm just gonna just yell the names in Spanish, and people are gonna think I'm a crazy person, and I'm probably gonna be asked to leave the premises.
So what? Didn't cost you anything.
Yeah, just gonna yell Tortuga, Penguino. I don't know if they have penguins there. Actually, I don't know. This is a fun episode.
Yeah. They're all fun.
They're all fun in their own way. Yeah.
There's no fucking rules. We don't have to follow some sort of format.
Hell no. Hell no. Have you seen that clip of it's like the libertarian convention, and it's like, and the guy there's like a libertarian debate going on, and it's like, and they asked the guy asking the questions asked them, should you have a license to use an automobile? And the one guy's like, hell no. And the other guy goes, what's next? Requiring a license to toast bread in your own damn toaster? It's like, libertarians are fucking crazy.
Yep.
And then Gary Johnson says something like, well, I would like to know, I would like some sort of measurement of competency of the driver. Everyone started booing him for daring to suggest that, you know, there should be some sort of test to mark, you know, one's competency behind the wheel.
Right.
I was like, I voted for that man. I don't know why I did that, but
I don't know why either.
Well, because I think he's funny, and
that's what you want from a president.
Not really. I mean, because Trump was funny.
Mm-hmm. That's a different kind of funny.
But no, but bad funny.
Yeah.
Bush was funny, but he was bad funny. Bill Clinton was funny in a way that was kind of made me worry about him.
Which one?
Clinton.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Obama wasn't funny. He was like serious all the time.
Well, you wore that tan suit. That was funny.
I mean, he brought like, I mean, all the criticism of him was funny in its own way.
I think you mean racist.
Oh no, not that criticism. That wasn't funny. Just like the like him being the Antichrist and a Muslim, and that stuff was funny.
Yeah. All right, we better wrap this up because I've got a crying baby, and we are just rambling about politics now.
Yeah, we tend to do that on these last few episodes.
This is true. Okay, we'll be back with a guest spot.
And now, this is a man that knows how to marry his cousin.
All right, welcome to the Zeitgeist Lab, Althea Pergakis, also known as Althea later. Althea, how are you tonight?
Doing quite all right. You know, happy to be here.
Yeah, we're glad
I just realized that's a pun.
Yeah, it's like I'll see you later. I got it out of a joke book written in the 60s for children. So
I never read it that way on Twitter for some reason.
This is literally what I deal with every episode.
Me realizing things way too late. Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're here. We're in our second season. We're talking about Community. So far, Althea, you've been the only person to reach out and even suggest wanting to talk to us about Community. So, I mean, I guess let's start there. What is your background with this fine television show?
So when it first came out, I was really opposed to watching it because my mother's name is Britta.
Okay.
And I could not deal with like her being the love interest, as my mother is also an angry blonde leftist.
Oh, okay.
So it hit a little too close to home. But years later, came back to it, and as it turns out, once they've decided that the series doesn't like Britta, then it's fine.
That's fine. Okay. So does it like help you work through some of your mother issues then?
That's above this level of intimacy, I think.
Right.
But in the last, I don't know, year and a half, essentially since I stopped leaving the house,
right.
It's kind of become the show that is on in the background of my home.
Okay.
So as a result, we've gone through it. I think when I reached out, we had gone through it 3 times. We just hit 4.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I've suddenly developed a lot of opinions, which none of my friends give a shit about. So.
Right. Sure. Yeah. That's why podcasts exist, so that there's
exactly.
at least someone out there that might give a shit. Because our friends don't give a fuck about what we have to say about stuff like this.
No.
I thought it was interesting. Maybe about a week ago, because for our listeners who don't know, we're part of like a Discord server for the 155 pod, and you do the great service of hosting like a listening party for some of the compilation covers that we put out. And I think on the first one, you just offhandedly mentioned that your husband was watching Community on mute while you were streaming like the covers.
Yeah.
Is it to the point where you guys just know what's being said? Like the mute doesn't even matter. Like you can just follow along with what's going on and know all the lines.
I mean, we're a captions family.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like we're part of this is also that my husband and I are both sort of amateur musicians.
Right.
So when we're watching TV, we're habitually doing other things.
Okay.
So like right now, I believe he is actually playing shakuhachi and also watching some anime. So
okay,
the things he gets to do while I'm doing this.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, largely it's a background noise kind of thing in my home. Primarily because like I get distracted when I'm listening to music. Like I am way more inclined to pay attention to like the song rules, the song sucks than like follow a plot.
Right.
Which I'm not sure is a personality defect or not, but might be.
Okay. So you just finished going through this whole series for a 4th time.
Yes.
And you said you started last year, which means you had the benefit of going through like the entire series. I've been watching since the beginning, so like I'm not as familiar with seasons 5 and 6 just because I haven't rewatched them as many times as the first few.
I will say that I did watch 5 and 6 in real time.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. None of the previous seasons, though. And I also hadn't gone back and watched the seasons prior to that.
So it's like out of context, you were like, I'm going to turn on NBC tonight and watch season 5 of Community.
I had Hulu.
Oh, okay. So, fair enough.
Yeah. And then when season 6 happened, I was rooting for Yahoo Screen in a really like dumb way.
Okay.
Like I wanted it to work so bad. Don't know why that was the streaming service I went with. I think mostly because I wouldn't have to pay for it, and I was all about TV. I didn't have to pay.
That was a good thing. Were there any other shows worth watching on Yahoo? This is the only show I ever watched on Yahoo.
There was a fake dating show with Ken Marino on it that was really good.
Okay.
It was about firefighters. I think it was called Burning Love.
Interesting.
It was really good. I think it got nominated for some bullshit Screen Actors Award or something.
Right.
All awards are bullshit. So
Okay, so what are your thoughts on the quality of the series from the beginning to the end? Is it level? Where are the peaks? Where are the valleys?
I thought season 1 was really uneven,
okay.
Which makes sense because season 1 of everything is uneven, right?
Right.
Like,
fair enough.
have you ever watched the first season of any given Star Trek? not worth doing.
Yeah, no. But
So, seasons 2, 3, and 5 were really strong. Everyone hates season 4. I think that's
Right.
kind of season 4 feels like a different show.
Yeah.
Which isn't a problem, but it's not a problem, except that we're still calling it Community.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, there's definitely something missing, but I think it gets a lot more shit than it deserves, is probably what I would say.
I mean, the thing it's missing is Dan Harmon, right?
Right, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And so you've kind of lost track of your characters, and these things happen.
Right.
I really like season 6, if only because I thrive on chaos.
Okay.
And it really takes something to take an ensemble of 7 and remove 3 of them.
Right.
Particularly when all 3 of those characters were in these like really established like interpersonal relationships, with like a lot of plot lines, where suddenly we have to break them and then start coming up with other pairings, which like season 5 did it really well with Shirley after Pierce left, but then we lost Shirley too, so then Jeff was kind of lost as a character. Again, I've spent a lot of time probably thinking deeper about this than I have to.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. I'm also going to be real. So part of the backstory of my life is that I work in the same department at a university that I graduated from.
Okay.
And yeah. And so perhaps I identified a little hard with Jeff in seasons 5 and 6. Who would have thought?
Gotcha. Right.
Kind of came to me at a point in my life where it was perhaps I sympathized more than I would have.
Okay.
So I'm always very like protective of like, asshole, everyone who's struggling with a sense of purpose when all of their friends are growing up without them. You're kidding.
Right. So, I mean, would you say, you said you like season 6, and I do too.
I love season 6.
Would you say it's the best, or?
I don't know if it's the best. However, I do think that the additional funding and freedom that they got from Yahoo Screen was really useful.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they no longer pussyfoot around Britta smoking pot, right?
Right, yeah.
they had gotten all the mileage out of that they were going to get.
Right.
I also think that the whole deal with like her parents is really problematic.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, if someone's not on with their parents, like you shouldn't fuck with that relationship. But that was kind of fucked up. But I love Martin Mull though. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you think? Because I appreciate season 6 too, but I think sometimes it was hindered by the fact that they kind of just let Dan Harmon make the episodes as long as he wanted. Like sometimes the episodes are just too long, I think.
I mean, yes and no. I feel like some of them really could have done with editing, especially this one that we were going to be talking about today, Wedding Videography.
Right.
Is it has so many good bits that should have been a 2-part episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the whole them being late to the wedding because of the because they like fucked around too long.
Right, yeah.
Like that's a good part, but it goes on forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like talk about things that need edit. The other part is that they introduced 2 main characters in season 6 that are both great. However, they just they don't have any particular reasons to be as involved in this group as they are.
Right.
Like they are immediately in, but there's no reason for Frankie and Elroy to be that closely knit, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Except for I don't know, we'll believe it.
Right, yeah. Okay, well let's get into this specific episode then, Wedding Videography. So the premise of this season is, Brian has gotten to pick most of the episodes we're talking about because it's kind of like his season, and he really wanted to have one from every one from every season. And Brian, is season 6, is it your least favorite season, or it's one of your least favorite, right?
No, it's one of my least favorite. Yeah. I think season 4 is worse, but this one, I struggle to find an episode from season 6 to talk about until until I watched the whole thing and I realized that the second to last episode, also known as penultimate,
Yes.
which Alex hates.
Yeah, my favorite word.
Yeah, is actually easily the best. Like, I don't know what it is about this episode that I just love so much. I think it's maybe because of Garrett and him being my favorite side character. So it's just I love that he gets his own episode. But yeah, other than
rules, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Particularly because he doesn't get better over the course of the seasons. He just gets slowly more competent. Like, he no longer drowns himself in a drinking fountain, but at what cost?
Right. Well, it reminds me, I don't remember what episode or season, but one of the things where we had the save Garrett thing, and Jeff's like, we saved Garrett? Like,
this is save Garrett?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, like, Garrett is just kind of Garrett. Yeah, I guess he gets slightly more competent, but yeah, he doesn't, there's no real character growth or development up until he marries his cousin, I guess. I mean.
And even then. Like.
Right.
Have you guys ever seen the actor's name is Eric something? Have you ever seen his stand-up?
Yeah, we played it on episode, I think the last one or just the one before that.
Yeah, we played a clip of him on Conan, doing like a 5-minute set, and I was like, this is insane.
So good.
Yeah, it's so... You can tell that Garrett, the character, is highly influenced by the actor in that one.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Now we're going to talk about Donkey Kong.
Exactly. Just like, okay, we're just going to go on this ride.
Right, yeah.
And
everyone's impression
honestly,
of
I'm here for
this episode is so good, too.
I will say that celebrity Garrett Wedding is a very funny, very mean thing to do to your friends.
Okay, so, I mean, we recorded the first part of the episode in which we discovered that Brian did not watch the episode ahead of time. So he actually wasn't really able to give too much of a thoughtful account on this episode yet. So I was hoping maybe you said you took some notes, Althea.
Oh, yeah.
I was hoping maybe you could tell us. Excellent. I was hoping maybe you could tell us what some of your thoughts are, and then I want to get Brian's input because I have not heard it yet because he did not watch the episode before we actually recorded anything the other day.
Beautiful. So one thing that I thought was really interesting about this is that we never actually see Abed. Usually when there's an Abed documentary episode, there's at least like a cutaway, a talking head, an explanation.
So is
that
that
does not
true?
happen in this one.
Because I mentioned that, and I was like, I feel like in the other documentary ones we see him at least once, but I couldn't say for sure. But you're saying that we definitely usually see him at least once in other episodes like this? Okay.
Yeah. There's the chance I'm 100% wrong.
Right? I don't know for sure.
I said that, and then I didn't verify that fact.
Well, because there's the one where Pierce is like in a coma, right? And he's filming like the documentary. And then there's the one where they're doing the Greendale commercial.
Yeah, and then there's the one where they're doing it's one of the Changnesia episodes where they're trying to get the MacGuffin Institute.
Right, there's that one. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like there's at least another one. So yeah, there's
also that like really early one where Britta pays for his filmmaking classes. It's where we meet his dad, but like that one doesn't.
That's a little different. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I also mentioned that I think it's weird that we don't see Abed, and I just wonder. I mean, I think that's probably weird because he probably wasn't even on set when they filmed this, right? It's all just like voiceover
all of his stuff
work
is
afterwards. Yeah. Okay.
Which, like, I don't know, maybe out of vacation or something. Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
Though, from what I've heard, the conditions on Community were not amazing.
No.
Like, they had raccoons take over their dressing rooms and shit. Like,
oh, really? I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. I mean, they all are. All of the interviews I've seen have been like, yeah, it was really positive experiences, except for that time that, like, we all died in a fire. Like,
right, yeah.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So, you know, that I thought was really interesting. I also thought this was a really strong episode for Frankie, who, honestly, I wish they had introduced so much earlier, because she rules. Paget Brewster. Also, she plays an AV lady in an earlier episode.
Yeah, the corkboard one in season 5. Yeah.
Which I like because there's a callback. It might actually be in this episode. It might not be. Where she tries to get a hold of the AV lady and just hears like a high-pitched wail and something in Aramaic.
Right, yeah.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's good.
A couple other things that I really liked about that one. A couple other good Frankie bits there. At one point, she talks about turning a sleepover into a stoning, and then goes on to describe the rocks at which they threw at her.
Oh, yeah.
In like a series of 6 like adjectives, like biblical, jagged, ninja.
Okay.
Like, and also when they ask her what she's been up to, she says working and tending to my personal affairs, which is my favorite way to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah. Couple other things. Oh, okay. So when we were talking earlier about doing Celebrity Garrett impressions and like how they had been fucking around, when the dean enters that first scene, he's carrying bicycle handles with like a bell.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it never gets mentioned.
Huh. Okay.
Again, I was watching this with like attention to detail because I was going to be on a podcast and I was going to be fucking prepared.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I was a Girl Scout until I was 16. That's what that instills in you.
Right.
Yeah, it's just never mentioned, but like,
okay.
I had to put that there someplace. Also, okay, sorry, going through my notes is terrifying here. Terrifying. I just say because I can't read my own handwriting. A few great Garrett moments. Right as the cold open enters, he says, "It's official, I'm getting laid."
Yeah,
which is beautiful.
I also just love his PowerPoint presentation.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I also love that Jeff decides to give extra credit to the whole class because he doesn't know if he should be encouraging it.
Right. Yeah.
Which my thought was that would encourage me a whole lot. But okay.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I care about my fellow man, but
right.
He also after the incest reveal comes, he talks about someone coming to surprise him in a Homer Simpson costume.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I cannot envision what this would be or why you would want that.
Gary
like,
definitely seems like a hardcore Simpsons fan.
It's true, but like, have you seen people in Simpsons costumes? It's not pleasant. It either looks like somebody just dressed or like an abomination of yellow face paint. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realize this is a throwaway line, but like,
Right. What does it mean?
Yeah. My mind went on just like a fantasy journey there. At one point he also yells, "Stay and eat cake or go to hell."
That's what I was trying to remember on the main episode.
Which is bold and beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. There's this other speech at the wedding where the maid of honor, who everybody then hates, gets real aggressive about not letting Garrett stop her from painting, and he just has this like baffled look, like, okay,
right,
I won't.
Right, yeah. And then Jeff opens his toast by just totally dunking on her, and like she just starts crying. And, like,
yeah, they need that though. Read the room.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of this episode is okay. This episode is really good, and I do like its end tag with Riggs Hatton. However, in other things that I've seen, people think that that's actually Riggs Hatton. It's not. It's comedian Matt Gorley.
Yeah, and I saw that because when I saw that end thing, I was like, is that really the writer? And then I was looking at the credits, I was like, Matt Gorley, because he's the producer for Conan O'Brien's podcast.
Yeah.
Like, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know that he was an actor, much less doing like something like this. Like,
I mean, Riggs Hatton is a writer, like he was the head writer on that. That's just not him.
Right, yeah.
So, and like, yeah.
That makes it so much funnier.
like that the whole point of the bit is to identify that he just doesn't. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Especially because I looked it up. Riggs Hatton is an attractive guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He shouldn't be.
Well,
He's got nothing to fear.
I just wonder too, because like my understanding is a lot of times the writing credit goes to the writer who wrote the first draft.
Yeah.
So did it like go back to the room and then some other writer's like, oh, let's add this. It'll be really funny to like poke fun at this guy or something like that. Like it wasn't actually his idea or something.
It came off as like way more pro incest. They started off as siblings and like
right. I mentioned this before, but like my favorite part is just is Elroy and his I guess addiction to encouraging white people.
White people.
Yeah, and just like the culmination of like, now that's a man who knows how to marry his cousin. I just think that's hilarious. Like,
especially since I saw that, I realized how often people do that to me. It's like that I get encouragement for nothing all the time.
Oh, really?
And so I'm wondering if I just strike people as like really down.
Okay.
Like, Althea, way to open that lock. Like, I don't know.
Right. Good work.
Yeah. Like maybe white people are just sad all the time. I speak firmly as a white woman.
Right. Yes.
Blonde in the whole bit. I realize this is an audio medium, so might as well be explicit.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Sorry, I made a cold brewed ginger ale, and it is amazing. I'm chugging this down. Sorry, there's my quick bev check for this.
Yeah, that's fine. There was like some talk about that in the Discord that we're in, and I think that sounds absolutely insanely gross. Like a cold brewed ginger ale.
It is delightful.
And it's just to be clear, is it just coffee and ginger ale, or?
Yep.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I first got it at a Starbucks Reserve in New York because I thought it sounded batshit, and then I have not been able to stop drinking them since.
Okay.
So.
And you just make? Is it canned, or you just make your own kind of concoction?
This one I just made.
Okay.
This is a little bit of the Kroger cold brew concentrate and a Canada Dry Bold. So
I haven't tried the Bold yet. I've seen people talking about it because I'm a huge Canada Dry fan. Like that's my go-to soda, but I've not tried the Bold one.
It's a little sharper. I prefer ginger beers to ginger ales.
Okay.
Because I'm a snob. But my local Kroger does not have any ginger beers that I like. So
okay. See, this is where we're going to pick up listeners because our audience loves hearing us talk about snacks.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, it is a way of life. Once upon a time, actually immediately before the pandemic, I filed for a business license because I was going to start a non-alcoholic bartending service.
Oh, okay.
And then I filed for that in February.
Okay. Right before everyone wants nothing other than alcohol, right?
Yeah. Well, because I live in an area with a high Mormon population, as well as a high Muslim population. Yeah.
I don't have the Muslims up here, though.
Yeah. There's actually some statistic where Mesa, Arizona, which is another suburb of Phoenix, has more Mormons per 100 people than Salt Lake does. However, none of the political power.
Right, yeah.
Because they're all Jack Mormons. But
right, yeah.
Man, maybe I shouldn't be talking shit about Mormonism, but whatever.
Yeah.
They bring it on themselves.
I mean, I do it all the time. It's fine. You can hide behind saying you were on Alex's podcast and he's from Utah and he does nothing but talk shit about them. So. And
again, I feel like I'm somehow allowed. I don't know. That's probably not great. But I don't know. When I grew up, half of my high school senior class did their last two class periods at the Mormon church across the street. So whatever, it's fine.
Oh yeah, so they did the seminary thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, which So I feel like I'm encultured enough that I can talk shit.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's neither here nor there.
Right.
But rather, I thought because of this fact that I was about to I thought I was a genius.
Yeah.
Dry weddings, baby showers, the whole bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a pandemic. So
okay, but the Mormons still don't drink during a pandemic. You could have done a delivery non-alcoholic bartending, right? I don't know.
I don't have that kind of gumption. Okay. I can't do individual orders. I could go to a party.
Right.
You know?
There you go.
Is that something you think you'll revisit as things start to reopen, or is that just...
No idea.
You have no idea. Okay.
I'll be honest, the business partner that I was going to go in with is trying to open a hot dog cart now.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I don't know where things are going. She's real entrepreneurial. If she was at the point where I could start plugging things, I would do so. As if people who listen to your podcast are going to go to a hot dog cart in Phoenix suburbs.
Right.
But
it turns out all our listeners are actually right there in the Phoenix area. So
yeah, I mean, hopefully you'll have a couple for at least this episode.
Right.
If your numbers don't reflect that, I have some talkings to give.
Exactly.
Stirring talking tos.
Yeah. Okay, so Brian, what was tell us your takeaway from this episode now that you finally watched it? Because again, the theory is that you picked your 13 favorite episodes of Community to talk about, and then I just got to tack 2 on at the end. But it seems like every week you realize, oh wait, I shouldn't have picked this episode. Is that where we're at again this week?
No, absolutely not. This one's awesome.
Okay.
This is, again, probably the best episode of season 6 by far. And hell, it could have been the last episode and I would have been happy. Honestly.
Do you think this is the best episode of the season, Althea?
No.
And if not, what would you say is the best one?
Don't say the one with the RV. Please don't say the one with the RV.
No, though I do like how that one ends. The one where they actually bring in Natalie is freezing.
Okay.
If only because I feel like we as a society should give Lisa Loeb more credit as a person, and also probably like give her our money. Because Lisa Loeb fucking rules.
Yes.
Some good songs, yeah.
Again, this may be because, again, I'm a suburban white woman. I am, like, contractually obligated to like Lisa Loeb.
Right.
That particular episode also starts with Chang giving a PowerPoint presentation that is fantastic, where he describes about how he doesn't know how to use PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the advanced safety features. It's the one where Subway is now Honda.
Okay.
Because it needs a level 7 susceptible.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, that one I am really here.
I forgot about that storyline with Subway.
Yeah, with
Subway
Britta falling in love with Subway.
Yeah, Subway the man.
Yeah. Well, he's Honda in this episode.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, season 6, I think the best episode is I think it's called something Recycled Cinema, where they're trying to capitalize on Chang's ham girl thing.
Yeah.
And they have like the 5 minutes of footage of him, and they're trying to build a movie around it. I just think it's hilarious.
Yeah, that one's pretty.
Yeah.
That one isn't in my tops, but it does have a lot of like really strong moments in it. It's a very good Jeff Breakdown episode. I love me a good Jeff Breakdown episode.
Sure.
With the exception of what was the G.I. Joe breakdown episode was going to.
That's a bad episode. I don't.
It is, and it was
it
was the second to last episode of the second time it was canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that was going to be the second to last ever episode, and then they got picked up by Yahoo Screen.
Right.
Like, why make that choice?
I completely forgot about that episode. That's a bad episode.
It's a bad episode.
Just all around, yeah.
Yeah. Like, he takes youth pills? I don't know. Again, I saw all of these things recently, so it's, like, fresh in my brain.
Did you... So, speaking of that, because you said you watched season 5 in real time, did you follow... Because at that time, I was always, like, on stupid, shitty Reddit, like, subreddits and stuff, and there were people that were, like... Because then there's the basic sandwich and basic story that come right after that. And people are like, oh, this is actually still just part of Jeff's hallucination when he's in that coma or whatever. And like they're trying to like do all this conspiracy shit stuff about how like this isn't actually happening and whatever. I'm like, what the fuck are people talking about?
Okay, quite frankly, any conspiracy theory that's like he's still in a coma is some bullshit.
Right.
With the exception of Archer, because like that got confirmed that like all of those fucking one-off seasons were in fact delusions.
Okay, I have not watched Archer.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, I just ruined seasons 5 through 7 or 5 through 9 of Archer for you.
Okay.
Worth watching. I don't know.
Okay.
But any like media theory of like, oh, it's all in somebody's head, like, yeah, yours. That's why it's fiction, theater of the mind. Like take from things what you will, but I'm all about media criticism and like fan theories. Like I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, right? And
huge what?
Taylor Swift fan.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is like fucking Nancy Drewing some like what move she's gonna make, you know? Right. So like that part does not bother me, but just like it is so uncreative to be like it was all a dream, right? And like to have that be like your conspiracy sticking point, particularly on a show like Community that has never like.
Right, to think that Dan Harmon would do that is just insane to me. Like,
yeah, like it's not that kind of show. And B, even if it was, they would lampshade it. Like there would be winks and nods to that constantly.
Yeah,
and they're just aren't. So, yeah. So take that, people on Reddit from 2012.
Right, exactly. Okay,
stuck on that one.
Right. Okay, Brian, do you have anything else to add about this episode?
Yeah, I got some notes here. A lot of them have been covered already. Let's see. I love that Todd officiated the wedding. I thought that was a really good choice.
That's so good when he starts it and then realizes he's God halfway through.
Yeah, like anyone can be a God.
That any one of them could be.
Yeah. I wish he was in the show a lot more.
See, I do not like Todd.
I think he's awesome.
I think the first episode he's in, like with the Todd problem, I think that's good. But after that, I never understood why they go back to the Todd well.
I feel like once they decided that they actually wanted him to be deeply creepy, he got overused.
Okay, yeah.
When he was just like some jerk in their class, like who just wants to go home to his baby and like is a little bit weird. Like I liked him in the Law and Order episode.
Yeah, he was good in the Law and Order episode.
But like,
oh, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, once they decided that he was actually a serial killer, like,
right,
he could go. Yeah, that's one of the big travesties of season 6 is that they decided that they were going to use the side character in a way that was not interesting. Except for when he decides he's God halfway through the speech, which is very good.
That was good. Yeah.
I don't know. I just find Todd really endearing. I don't know.
But, I mean, you're allowed.
You're allowed an opinion. Like, maybe completely wrong, but you're allowed to have it. It's fine.
A lot of the notes I have are actually, oddly enough, they're the opposite opinions of what have been shared already.
Okay.
Go.
Such as,
let's see here. I gotta get my notes app open. I thought Elroy's bit of encouraging white people felt a little out of place, but it was funny enough to not be a big deal. And then it finally pays off when he's like, this guy really knows how to marry his cousin.
Yeah.
Until then, I was like, I don't know, this feels weird. I thought the bit at the end wasn't really necessary with the incest explanation.
Okay.
But now I realize it's funny because that wasn't the actual writer of the episode. So,
but you don't find it funny. Like if that was actually the writer, you just
I thought it wasn't really necessary. I guess I don't know.
I would say
terribly funny.
I would say like the end tags in this season get very weird.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of. I think it fits with the rest of them. Like, I think it's in the series finale, the end tag, where they're like playing the community game or whatever, and then like it becomes like multiple levels of meta where he ends up like narrating about the fact that he's playing the video game or the board game or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one ends in Dan Harmon saying that, like, doing like the disclaimers, whatever, with like a maybe he wants to tell him how he loves him, but he knows that he's incapable, and like
right, yeah.
Anyway, that's it. End of thought. Good bit.
I also think Frankie doesn't really fit in with the group that well. Like,
He doesn't, and that's why I like it though.
Yeah, I don't really like it. I don't know. I've said this before on the podcast, and my problem with season 6 is they add those like Frankie and Elroy just kind of randomly, and like they have no reason to be there, and it's like it's hard to replace a Shirley or a Pierce, and like they don't have as much personality as like the original group.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that Frankie is a really interesting character and definitely has room to grow on it.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, I mean, a lot of the problems with Frankie get lampshaded all throughout season 6. Like, she is not distinct enough from Annie. Her part doesn't super make sense. Like, there's this bit in the finale where when they're pitching the next season, where they're like, this would make sense if we all worked here. Like,
right.
Like, yeah, probably would have. Anyway. Basically, I'm going to defriend Frankie until my dying breath, apparently. So
okay.
You're allowed.
I think the two additions were good. Brian, in the main episode, you mentioned just thinking that they didn't necessarily have staying power. And maybe that's true, but I would argue they don't really need to, because I think they knew that he just needed to complete this season, and that was it. Like, I don't think there was ever any thought that they were going to get a 7th season.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, they effectively wrote off everybody at the end. So,
right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I really liked the addition of Elroy and Frankie, even though, again, they weren't additions that super made sense, but I also feel like that's not critical on this show.
Right.
Like it doesn't make sense that they would all still be in community college.
Right.
Or that if they went back to college because they had all failed, that it would be at the same place.
Right.
But, you know, whatever.
Like, yeah, the Save Greendale committee, like, that would ever actually be a thing.
Yeah.
And that these are the people that would make it up, like, make up that committee.
Yeah.
Like, the whole Chang storyline, no part of that has ever made sense. Does it matter? No.
No, absolutely.
0%.
I mean, I will say that I appreciated Professor Hickey more than Frankie or Elroy.
Oh, absolutely.
I wish they had held on to Hickey.
Yeah.
I had to assume that was like a money thing.
I think it was because Better Call Saul started, and
might have been.
He was on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same reason why they weren't able to keep Duncan either, because then John Oliver got the HBO deal.
Yeah.
Which is bad, because I really like both those characters. I mean, I know Duncan had been on in seasons 1 and 2 as well, but I thought both of them were better than what they had in season 6. But I think they did fine with what they had in season 6.
Like, I don't think season 6 is great on its own. Like, if you're going to watch one season of Community, that ain't it.
Well, it makes no sense. Like, you're completely lost. Like,
But I do like it as an end cap to Community.
Yeah.
Because, like, if we're also thinking about, like, the college experience and also the way that these friend groups go, you drop people, you gain people.
Like, yeah, I never really thought of it that way. That's a really good point. It's like you don't get through college with the same friend group.
Yeah. Well, and even so, in the last season, most of them are professionals, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like your work friends and your college friends aren't the same folks, you know?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes they are, but I don't know. It makes sense to me, especially because there's this whole theme of like codependency in this particular episode. And so a lot of the things that don't make sense about it, like, why is Elroy invited to this wedding?
Right, yeah. Like, has he even had any interaction with Garrett at all before this episode?
Yeah, like, this makes no sense. He doesn't know anybody. Like, Like, why is he there? Or like Frankie being invited to that wedding and then not really knowing what to do with that, or like how to blend into the group. These are things that feel right. Like, because sometimes these things just happen. Is someone gets invited because they happen to know somebody. And Frankie's whole thing of like not knowing how to like have a girls' day, I thought felt really authentic. Again, this may be because I was a girl who didn't have a lot of friends who were girls growing up. Feel like I'm getting real deep about myself on this podcast, but I'm also self-absorbed. So take that one.
Right. Yeah.
That's what you signed up for.
That's like the trick of the podcast. We invite you on to talk about community, and then you just like spill everything, right?
And then my boss is going to listen to this, and
right, exactly.
That said, if you are Pavan Taraga, congratulations on being director of the School of Arts, Media, and Engineering. That got announced today.
Good work, yeah.
Yeah, we're real proud of you.
Congratulations.
And everyone knows that you're proud except for the dean.
Yes. Well, I was on the search committee for that, so I think
well, there you go.
He knows. But I just wasn't. I wasn't a snarky jackass when I replied all of that. So
I absolutely love the idea that there are literally probably only like 3 people who could be listening right now and have
who would have any idea of what's going on.
Right? Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter.
No.
But for context, my boss got declared actually my boss today. I was on the receiving end of like 19 reply all congratulations, and then I sent back a like, hey, I know that guy. Instead of a congratulations because I think I'm funny.
Right.
So long story short, it's exhausting to know me.
I can relate.
Yeah, I was about to say. I've been told I'm exhausting before.
Yeah. I've been told that I'm a lot. So, you know.
As a matter of fact, it was the reason why my longest relationship ended.
Oh. Well, you know, that's... I mean, I'm hoping that things end, like, we always see endings as beginnings, right?
Right.
But also, like, oh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Relationship should only ever end because the other person sucks.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Or because the other person dies.
I mean, that sucks in its own way. So, a dead person doesn't make a great partner.
No, that's true.
So, yeah. What else? I'm trying to think if I have any other like thoughts about this season. This episode does end in a 6-way slow dance.
Yeah, I thought that was really cute.
Yeah,
honestly.
Which again, for an episode whose whole thing has been about codependency, like
perfect.
It's a little on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that I did not write down that I did like a lot was that Frankie was trying to get Annie away from Jeff by having her name dragons.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And she says that she gets into a celebrity pun barrel, which is...
I love that, yeah.
Which is very
so
good.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember some of them.
My favorite one was Serpent.
Serpent.
Serpent, yep.
But yeah, I also just really love on comedy series where instead of like picking whatever the joke is, they just sort of like ramble off a few. Like The Simpsons is really guilty of this.
Okay.
Of like instead of dedicating to one pun, they're just going to rattle off like 6 in a row.
Right, yeah.
That's what I feel like happened there.
Well, it's like you can hear the writer's room just spinning out of control. Like you can hear the riffing, and they're like, well, let's just throw it in there then.
Yeah. No bad ideas. We're just going to pitch.
Yeah. Exactly.
First thought, best thought.
Exactly.
And then second thought, also best thought. And then every
well, there's more than one person in a room.
Right, yeah.
There's no bad thoughts in a brainstorm.
Right.
But yeah. Trying to think. It's there. I feel like we have really wrung this episode out.
Yeah, we've been going for almost an hour.
See, I told you I could talk about Community Season 6 all day.
Okay, well, before we let you go, is there anything that you want to plug or that you want our listeners to check out or know about you?
I'm going to straight up assume that all of you are already familiar with 155, because if you're not, I don't know how you found this.
What the hell are you doing here? Yeah.
I would actually be interested in finding out how you came across this. So you can find me on Twitter at AEPergakis, AEPERGAKIS. Because quite frankly, if you don't know any of us and you're not listening to that podcast, I'm so interested.
Right.
Like how did that even happen?
Right.
And how do we find more of you? I don't know.
Right.
I feel like I'm really invested in this podcast now.
You should be. Everyone should be.
I can kick in the $3 on the Patreon.
There you go.
That's where
bonus episodes are where we really shine. So
yeah, they really are.
I think that's it. So check that out. Also, if you're in the mood to get a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary digital media, we run an online program through the School of Arts, Media, and Engineering at Arizona State. So you can check that out. I think by saying that, it means that I can now count this as working.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, just clock in for the last hour or whatever.
Yeah, I'll just peace out early tomorrow.
Right.
Kidding, I'm going to work totally on time. So yeah, I think that's all I have. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thank you for being here.
on. Yeah, you're a lovely guest.
Thanks. I mean, I'm also good looking, so yeah. Thank you.
Stacy, will you be my legally incestuous wife?
Yes.
Everyone stay and eat cake or go to hell!